All right, so last time we talked about our intro for our personal narrative, and I walked you through how you would start your introduction. So today we're focusing on our body paragraph of our personal narrative. So you're not going to summarize everything yet, you're not going to tell what happened at the end, but the main event or the main events that happened are going to fall into the body. Now, there's also some other things that fall into the body. We want to make sure that we end up with at least one simile or metaphor. I need two pieces of dialogue at least. I need at least 5 details that go along with the events that happened. And I need to make sure that I have capital letters and periods. So, when I take a look at my main events that happened, I made sure that I made it consistent with where I left off. So, in my introduction, I talk about signing up for the marathon. I talk about how Francie and I decided we could do it and how we planned to train for the next few months and meet up for long runs. So, when I started my introductory paragraph, notice that I indented, and this should be about there, but I indented my paragraph and I'm telling you when it happened. Now, on 8.4, activity 8.4, you have this chart that will really help you figure out what events you need to talk about. So I already talked about deciding to run the marathon in my introduction. I'm kind of now into the training part. So I'm talking a little bit about here, about the training, and then I go into getting sick. So in October, I met up with Francie in Philadelphia to run 15 miles. We ran on a flat trail by the river. It was a cool morning, but perfect for running. My legs felt like bricks. So already, there's some things in there like details that are helping to describe the event of meeting up with Francie to run. My legs felt like bricks. That you should recognize as a simile. I'm comparing how my legs felt to bricks. Now, I know bricks are heavy, so if your legs feel like bricks, then your legs are feeling heavy. How many miles have you been running? Francie asked me. I've been running about 7 miles each day, I responded. Emily, that's way too much. You need to give your body time to rest. No wonder your legs are hurting, she told me. After that, I added more days where I took off from running to recover. So already I have at least my 2 pieces of dialogue. And notice that I have a tag on the end of the dialogue. So Francie asked me. I responded. She told me. Francie and I met up a couple more times on the Enola Low-Grade Trail and the Chester Valley Trail to do our long runs. Both trails were beautiful in the fall with leaves changing color and falling off the branches. The longest before the marathon, I have a couple errors in here, which is why it's always good to go back and read your work. So both trails were beautiful in the fall. I'm going to have a comma here with leaves changing color and falling off the branches. The longest run we did before the marathon was 20 miles. And a lot of times when you read your writing back, you can hear if something sounds off too. Francie and I worked hard to get up to 20 miles, and we were proud of ourselves when we finished the run. We practiced taking gel packs every 6 miles to give our bodies fuel that wouldn't bother our stomachs when we ran. I was ready for the race, but extremely nervous. So I'm telling you how I'm feeling here. I'm telling you information about how we were getting ready for the marathon. I told you we were feeling proud. Okay, all those different details are really important to let your reader know what's going on, what's going through your head. Also notice that I'm using some transitions like in October, a week before the marathon, to let you know when it's happening. So make sure you're telling your readers when it's happening. A week before the marathon, I felt ill. I felt like garbage. That's one that we worked on together in class. That is a simile. I'm comparing how I feel to garbage. I had nausea and muscle aches and was home in bed. So this can actually be a list. So we're going to say I had nausea, muscle aches, and was home in bed. Jake brought food up to me in bed. If you're going to run on Saturday, you need to fuel your body, he told me. I cried thinking I had put in all this work for nothing and that I wouldn't get to run. However, a couple days later, we decided to go down to Rehoboth. I would see how I felt in the morning and decide if I would race or not. When I woke up, I still wasn't feeling normal, but I decided to give it a shot. Worst case scenario, I start and I drop out, I told Jake. I warned my mom and stepdad that I may not finish. On a very chilly morning in December, Francie and I lined up for the race together by the beach. I knew if I was going to make it through the race, I needed to feel relaxed the first half, so I let her go and hung back. When I reached 13.1 miles, I started to feel more confident. I was still feeling good. I crossed over bridges in the bay. So I'm going to change this a little. In the bay, I crossed over bridges and could smell the salt air. When I reached 20 miles, I knew I would finish the race. At 25 miles, my legs could barely move. I told myself to keep putting one foot in front of the other. I crossed the finish line and completed the 26.2 miles. So I still have a little bit more to tell about how I'm feeling after the race, but I'm going to save that for my conclusion when I wrap it all up and tell you the end of my personal narrative. So make sure you have the dialogue in there, that you have your simile and metaphor, and that you include details. Yours might not be quite as long as mine, but you should be able to tell me the main details and the important things that happened. Remember to give sensory details so your reader can kind of know what's going on and picture your story in their head. All right, you got this. Good luck.